Another helpful tip, if you have a bladder problem like me, you always want to Google to see if they have restroom facilities. This one didn't state, so we just pulled in and realized they didn't. So because I had coffee, you always want to make sure you go to the bathroom before you go, so you're not in an area where you can't go. So that's just another tip. Just Google to see about the restroom facilities, what facilities are available, such as not only the restrooms, but picnic areas, grilling areas, places that your dogs can go, and etc. If you're in an unfamiliar territory, just do your research. Okay, we have reached our destination. We are at Mill Creek Park, and it has a waterfall. It doesn't look like it's a very long hike, so we're going to do multiple today, but I'm going to show you the steps on getting your dogs out of the car. So they are anxious, so my husband keeps them at bay, and then I come out and I start grabbing two of the dogs that will be walking with me. He takes Lulu, our bigger dog, with the puppy because they pull a lot more, and I keep the two little ones. Bear with me, I've been dealing with laryngitis these last couple of weeks, so I'll try to talk as loud as I can. I hope you can hear me, but let me grab them and help my husband. So dogs get excited like people, so you just have to contain them, because if you're in an area that you're unfamiliar with, you want to make sure you have them on your wrist at all times. So what my husband does is make sure they're all buckled, make sure the leashes are not bad or not fully hooked, or if there's rips, tears, or if we have to change out the leash. So he will hand me two of the dogs, and then he will get out with the other two once he's settled and ready. So he gets them to calm down in the car before we get out, because we do have 4 dogs. One's a puppy. Lulu is still a bigger dog, and she pulls a lot more, and excited they are. So we have one that stands outside the car and one that remains in the car, and that's how we get the dogs out safely. So I got 2 of the dogs out safely, and you just have to contain them before you start walking to make sure that they listen and that they're calm. So they are ready to go. They are excited. They do start to pull, but after I start walking, they do calm down. You just have to direct them to stay calm and to walk with you. So this is our fill-up station. It's called Mutt Mitt. This is one of the tips that I was showing you about. You want to make sure you're prepared. We have 4 dogs, and we have a dog that does have bladder issues, and she also uses the bathroom quite often than the other dogs. So we grab quite a bit on our journey, and any that we have left over, if we have any left over, we just take it on to the next adventure. So this should be enough for the hike that we're going on now. Seemed like a lot, but it really isn't, because my dog Lulu can actually stop and go like 4 times. They're pulling on me, so my camera's gonna jiggle a little bit. Where's your backpack, honey? So it does seem like a lot, but our dog Lulu, she can go like 3 to 4 times. And then we have 4 dogs all together, and puppies too. So if we do have any leftovers, we just carry it on to the next adventure. But we try to stay stocked up. We do have our own, but when it's offered, we do take the offering to preserve ours when we go to an area that there isn't any available. So that's how we do it. I mean, it's free, and that's what they're offering. So go ahead and follow us. We got excited puppies. So he takes 2 and I take 2. They are pulling, so you have to rein them back and tell them to calm down. He's usually pretty good about maintaining his dogs on their leash. Mine get excited and they like to pull, but this is where we're at now. This is called Cataract Falls. We're at what's called Mill Creek. So here's some of the view. It's beautiful. You can see part of the creek up here. You can also see the nature, and you can even hear the waterfall before we even get down there. We're gonna explore a little bit. This is a new place for us, so we have to figure out if there's any hiking trails or if it's just an overlook to a waterfall. But we heard that this is one of the tallest waterfalls in Cleveland. I'm not sure if it's the tallest one in Ohio. And here's a beautiful overlook with some stairwells that'll lead you down. There's some bench seating if you want to stay up here and just listen to the sounds of the waterfall. Here is a sign of where we're at. We are still at the Cleveland Metro Parks. So it says moving a waterfall. This is Mill Creek Waterfall, and this is the overlook. Wow. So this is the overlook of the waterfall that we're at. This is called Mill Creek. It's one of the tallest waterfalls in Cleveland. And we became to know this place on our last hike. We met a gentleman on our last hike with the dogs that had told us about this place. So we wanted to venture here today. So we got 4 excited puppies, and I think we're gonna make our way down. There is a trailer to go down to the bottom. There are some other people here. So here's another view. We're gonna go to another overlook. Okay, we're gonna venture down the steps. I'll just show you how steep the steps are. Make sure you keep your dogs in control when going down the steps.
Oh my God, they all so cute. In fact,
Here we go, we're on another observation deck. So you just go down about 1 flight of steps, and then you get this beautiful view. Wow, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is.
Look at that view, everybody. Mill Creek, Cleveland, Ohio. It's actually considered Garfield Heights, but it's a suburb of Cleveland. Very beautiful, one of the tallest in Cleveland. Cleveland Metro Parks area. All right, picture time. I might have to get out of the video. This is amazing, you guys. Mill Creek, Cleveland Metro Parks area. It's called Garfield Reservation, but it's still considered Cleveland, Ohio. For all my YouTube and TikTokers, Facebook, it's the Cleveland Metro Parks, Garfield Reservations, Mill Creek. This is really beautiful, you guys. It's not a long walk down here, and you have this beautiful, gorgeous observation deck. We are going to be going on to our next adventure, hopefully to find another waterfall. We're going to be doing this throughout the day with our dogs, so keep following. This is just our first stop of the day. So see you at the next adventure, the next waterfall. So another helpful tip when transitioning to your next destination, before you guys all load up the dogs in the car, make sure they have food, water, or treats, whatever you want to give your dog. Make sure they went potty, poop, everything before you get in the car to make the transition to the next destination more smooth. And then they're happy dogs. Just another helpful tip. Excuse me, I still have laryngitis. So as you're transitioning to your next destination, this is just a helpful tip to make the ride more smooth and less stressful, not only on you, the driver, or your pets. So always give them fresh water and maybe like a good boy treat. If you think they're hungry, stop and take the time to feed them. If they don't seem interested, just give them a treat to get something in their bellies. But make sure they have water and make sure they went potty before getting in the car. That way, when you're on your way to the next destination, whether it's a 5-minute to a half-hour drive or etc., it makes it go a lot smoother. Do this for each of your stops and try to stop frequently for them so that they're not stressed out. Just another helpful tip along the way. Another quick helpful tip that I want to give you guys is when traveling with your fur babies, not only you're wanting to make them comfortable, but you want to make yourself comfortable. As you can see, I just pulled my hair up. I just braided it for today to make it comfortable and to keep me cool. Usually I'll wear it up in a ponytail. So you kind of want to prepare for the situation that you're in. Like I said, do your research, Google the weather, and be comfortable. Most of all, wear comfortable hiking clothes if you're going to hike with your dogs. Just depend upon the journey that you're going to do with your animals. Wear lightweight cotton shirts that keep you cool, shorts. Bring a jacket for later in case it gets cold at night. And also wear like good hiking shoes. If you're in an area where you can just walk with flip-flops comfortably or change out of your shoes, maybe carry them in your backpack. You just want to make sure, number one rule, that you are comfortable, because if you are comfortable, then your dogs are going to be comfortable. So not only you're preparing for their trips, but you're preparing for yourself as well. So I'm going to make a separate video on all these helpful, wonderful tips on how to prepare to travel with your fur babies. But I just want to incorporate some of these little tips along the way to help you and guide you with your first trip out with your four-legged friends or any of your fur babies, to make your trip more comfortable and less stressful. Follow me at my YouTube page, Adventures with Our Four-Legged Friends. Hey guys, so I had to make a pit stop because once again, no restroom. But I wanted to let you guys know this is what I bring. It's a Quest protein bar, and it has 20 grams of protein, 4 net carbs, and 1 gram of sugar. This is what keeps me full for the day. My dogs just had water while I was at a pit stop. My husband gave them water. I'll have to show you the jugs that we use to fill the water up with. And I got their treats. So when we get to the destination, we'll give them their treats. Okay, everybody, we met our destination, so I was just going to show you real quick. I ended up bringing this water bowl because we have 4 dogs with us today, and it's a bigger bowl. But normally we bring the collapsible bowls because they're easier to stick in your backpack or clip on the side. They have clips on them. But I just want to show you what we go with. We pack a cooler full of ice, and these are the water jugs that we fill the dogs' water up with. They all have their water. So now Daddy's gonna hold on to them while Mommy gives them their treats. Today I just packed it in their bags. Now Lulu, this dog right here, Lulu, the bigger dog, she's on a strict diet, so she has to have special treats. So these are, and then the other dog, they get regular treats. So I'm getting ready to give them their treats, and then we're gonna start the trail. Okay, so we just gave them 1 treat each. That way we have enough for each of the destination. We either give it to them usually after, but we had already been to the first destination, so we gave them their food, or not their food, excuse me, their water, and we let them go to their bathroom. But because I had to make a pit stop, my husband gave them more water, so I have more treats saved up for the next destination. So I can hear the waterfall. We're going to begin our destination. We are at Fairview Park. It's still part of the Metro Parks out in the Cleveland area. This is considered more of like Parma or Fairview area. Every destination that I've been to, I'll try to post. That way you know where we've been in case you want to visit, whether you're local in Ohio in the Cleveland area or if you're coming from out of state and you're visiting the area. So let's get started on our journey. Okay, the journey's beginning. We are ready for our second hike of the day. Another helpful tip, everybody, is to always view your map. There are several trails. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 different trails. So always pick the best one and go from there. But here's the map. Maybe pick the closest one to you and see how it loops around. So as I stated, the best thing to do is whenever you get your destination, after you go to the restroom, make sure your dogs are prepped and ready for the walk, is go right to the map, locate where you are located at, where you're parked, and find the area marked where you're at and figure out where the trail begins and where it ends. That way you're not getting lost and you stay on the trail. Just another helpful tip when you have dogs with you. Even if you don't have pets with you and it's just you and your spouse or you and friends, it's just a helpful thing to know. Always know where you're at. Look at the map. It'll tell you exactly your starting point and the ending point, and if it loops back around or if it continues, because Cleveland Metro Parks is huge. It could go on and on and on and on for miles upon miles, and you can end up in a whole new town, a whole new city. And you don't want that to happen. So you want to make sure you check your destination always. So that's why I tell you to look at the map, which is what my husband's doing right now. Hey everybody, after figuring out the map and where we were, we realized it was like this one huge, well, it's all Cleveland Metro Park. So it's this one huge park that goes all over. So it's one huge park. I'm sorry, I still have laryngitis, so it's going to be hard to hear me. Throughout Cleveland and all the suburbs. So the map is just directing you to different trails. In the Fairview Park, it's all connected with different other parks. So you have like Rocky River Park, you have Hinkley Park, you have all these other parks that are all connected. And each park has their own little destination area. It could just be a trail. You could be on pavement, you could be on the road, you could be in the woods, you could be on the rock. You pick your trail. So with that being said, we took a little bit drive down the road after reviewing the map, because our destinations is trails that lead you to a waterfall. Now we're not opposed to just walking a trail with the dogs, but when it's like a really huge trail that leads to different sections of Cleveland and the suburbs, we like to have like one loop or one section when we have our dogs. Now if it's our husband and I, we don't mind walking, but we have to be cautious with the dogs. So here's one of the trail destinations that we found, and we're gonna go to 2 or 3 other ones for today, and then we'll get the dogs ice cream and call it a day. But I'm gonna turn the camera around. So you have these benches all along the way. This is all part of the Rocky River area. So we're gonna walk down here and you'll see just a little bit of these cute little waterfalls. It's not a very big waterfall. It's more like kind of like a water rapid, but it's still beautiful, and it's still a beautiful place to stop. So when you enter into Fairview Parks, the map is gonna direct you to all of the areas surrounding this part of Cleveland. So this is just another great find and another great view. And there's places to sit, there's picnic areas, there are restrooms. So this is just a cute, another great little mini waterfall find along the way of us walking these trails. It is such a large trail, so be careful on how far you can travel. One tip is to continuously Google the area, read the maps, do your research, because this area is huge. It's part of Cleveland Metro Parks. It goes on and on for miles, and it goes from city to city to city, such as Chagrin Falls, Bedford, Mayfield, on and on, downtown Cleveland, Fairview, Garfield. So you want to make sure you know where you're at and where your destination is going to be. And you can see behind me the waterfall. Isn't that beautiful? And I know I don't have much of a voice and it's very loud, so I'll get back to you when we get to the car. We're gonna rest right here with the dogs and enjoy the view. But this is just to go to show you one of the many beautiful attributes of the Cleveland Metro Parks. It just goes on and on for miles. So our very first destination, we started off at Mill Creek Park. We ended up at Fairview, but it goes to like Rocky River and all these little places like this, and it leads into bigger waterfalls. So our next destination is going to be out in Parma, and that's going to lead to a bigger waterfall. This is just a little bit of a mini one, and the trails just go on and on. Some of the trails don't have anything like waterfalls, but some of them will walk along a river. Some have cliffs, some have rocks that you can climb, and then some destinations actually end with waterfalls. So this one has just a mini one. The previous park that we were looking at the map had about, I think we counted 15 trails, but they were different trails. One was like a rocky trail, one had staircase, one had a wooded trail, one had a pavement trail, and one you were just walking along the road. But in between all those trails are picnic areas, restroom breaks, golfing. There's golfing in between all these trails, but we're gonna stay on the trails that end with the waterfalls. So my dogs are here. It's sunny. So we're just taking a 5-minute break, and then we're gonna head out to the next destination. So we are refueling before we take off to the next destination. We fill up 2 jugs of this. We have our cooler and their treats. And if you can hear, we're by an airport. Everybody done? Everybody done?
Yeah, let's get up.
Okay, they got their water. They already had a treat. We have another treat set up for the next destination. And then their last treat is the big treat, which is ice cream. So they are replenished. So when we reach the next destination, we can begin walking. And off we go. Also, another helpful tip, if you do have a working air conditioner and it is very extremely hot out today, make sure you run that in between your destinations to cool the dogs off, as well as yourself. Okay, we are at the Berea Scenic Falls. So here's the view from the parking lot. So here's the sign that says Berea Falls Scenic Overlook. The Cleveland Metro Park Systems. And there's plenty of parking. And there's plenty of bench seating. So there's plenty of places to sit and plenty of photo opportunities. And here's the waterfall. That would be my dogs. Daddy had to untangle them. We had a coffee mishap. They spilled our coffee in the car and I had to clean up the trash. So now they're on their way down to meet Mommy. This is the overlook. I don't think there's a way to go to the bottom. There might be a way to hike, but for right now with 4 dogs, it looks too steep if you were to hike. I suppose you could. I don't know if it would be safe, but this is the Berea Falls. I hope they didn't find the mice. Look how pretty that is.
Yep.
They are down there?
Down there on that top, down there.
So there are people down there, so there must be a trail and a way to go down there. Let me show you the rest of the view. I don't see anybody down there. Where do you see people down there? Where? So apparently there's a trail that leads you down to the bottom. We have to figure out where that's at. Look at that view behind us. There's plenty of seating on the overlook.
Go.
So my dogs are taking a little bit of a breather there. Lulu's laying under the picnic bench. It's so peaceful and so beautiful here. We're sitting here taking a breather, letting our dogs take a rest, enjoying the view. And then we have about 2 other destinations we want to make today before we call it a day with our dogs. Hope you're enjoying the video so far. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Adventures with Our Four-Legged Friends. Click the bell, and the bell will let you know when any new content is posted. Keep following us for our adventures with our four-legged friends. We are going to be resting for a bit, and then we'll head to the next destination for today. So I see people that are sitting down on the rocks, so before we head out to the next adventure, we're going to see if we can head down there and get closer to the falls. So I will let you know if we reach our destination down there. So my husband, before we take off to the next waterfall and the next destination, we wanted to see if there was a trail that led you a little bit down further and closer to the waterfalls. Not that we didn't enjoy the overlook, but we like to be up and close to the waterfalls. He is repositioning the dogs. I take 2 of the smaller dogs. He takes Harley, which is our puppy, and the bigger dog because they pull more. I'm waiting for him to untangle them. But there is plenty to park here. There's several different trails that come off of here as well. But this is just an overlook. But we have seen people down there, so we think there's a trail that'll lead down closer to the waterfall. So we're gonna find that out before we head out to the next destination. Okay, so we're headed to find the trail. So this looks like a trail, so we're gonna go down here and see where it leads us. As we're walking, when your dogs have to go potty, just make sure there's no poison ivy or poison oak or anything like that along your trail. That's one tip to keep a lookout for, is make sure there's no poison ivy or poison oak anywhere. So this trail looks a little steep in some areas, but I think it's doable. There are some thick branches you can put your toes on to make sure you don't slip. So we are about at the bottom. It wasn't that bad of a trail or a climb. We're waiting on the dogs to go to the potty. The only advice I could get going down this trail down to the bottom is just watch your step, because there's a lot of twigs like these. But they're also helpful to help keep your grasp. And if you have to, lean on the tree to help guide you down if you're wanting to walk to the bottom of the trail. Some of the key things to look for is markings on trees. That way you don't get lost of where you're at. Keeps you on your toes and on your destination, so you don't forget how to get back up or where you began from. So we are getting close to the bottom. Looks like we made it to the bottom. Like I said, these things are very helpful when you're walking. I wouldn't recommend going down this trail if you have flip-flops on. I would wear some type of Skechers shoes, something that's comfortable. So we're closer and closer to the waterfall now. So as you can see, there's little steps. Just watch the little tree limbs so you don't get tripped up, but they are a good guidance for grip. As you can see, other people made it down here. We're gonna probably go down to one of the big rocks, but we are definitely closer to the waterfall down here. There's actually one over there. So we made it to the bottom, you guys. It wasn't that bad of a walk. Very beautiful down here. Look at this view, you guys. After I do some pictures, then I'm gonna show you the rest of the view down here. Great family photo opportunity. Okay guys, I'm going to show you the whole panoramic view. Sorry, I didn't have a voice. The whole area view. Isn't this gorgeous, you guys? beautiful waterfall, we decided to take the pups and get ice cream for an ice cream break before our next adventure today. So if it's really hot out, I suggest if you can, and if they can have it, just stop and grab your guys ice cream with your dogs. Not only is it a refreshing treat for yourself, but it also helps cool the dogs off. They're excited. They know where they're at. They know they're getting ice cream. But this helps cool them off and gets them ready for the next hike. So it helps cool your dogs off, and it's a great treat. Here's our ice cream. They're all excited.
Sonny, did you get yours?
No.
There you go, Sonny.
Harley.
Right here. I gotta go get yours.
So another key tip, when it's very extremely hot, stay hydrated, guys. I just can't do plain water unless I bring Crystal Light and I forgot my packet, but still staying hydrated is key. It's very hot out today, 88 degrees. So we are at probably our final destination because it looks like it's going to be a long walk. So it will take us into the latter part of the afternoon. And so they're going to be pooped and tuckered out by the time we're done here. So I'm going to show you what it looks like so far where we park. We're not sure if this is the beginning of the trail. I'm assuming this is the beginning of the trail, but this is the parking. We got an excited dog here. Okay guys, so this is the trail that we're going to start. A little warning there about some coyotes. So this one's called the Lookout Ridge Loop. So it takes you to the Skyline Overlook Trail, and then the Watershed Steward Center and Bluebird Point. So basically this particular area is going to be one of our last stops just due to the fact that it's a little bit of a longer walk. We're more involved in nature than just going straight to a waterfall or a lookout area. But this leads you to a big view of downtown Cleveland. But it's a neat place to walk towards. So rather than going to a waterfall on this trail, we're going to look at the beautiful downtown Cleveland from this trail. It's a better way to get the view because you're not quite downtown in the city with 4 dogs, and you get the view of the nature. So this is a path. So this is a little bit of a nicer view because you're walking through nature and the dogs are getting a good walk in as well. So this is probably going to be one of our last stops for the day because it is a little bit of a hike, but we are staying on trail. It's going through the wooded area, but it's more shadier, and it's a dirt trail. We do cross over 2 bridges, but we'll get to see the beautiful downtown Cleveland. So I'll pause in between our little walks. Basically what I'll do is just show you some highlights. They did say we'll see some, wildlife, like some birds and things like that. So anything of the highlights on our walk down to the destination, I'll show you. But this is actually what it looks like so far.
Let's go.
Also, the key thing is stay hydrated. Sometimes the only bad thing about when you take your 4 dogs is they like to stop and sniff everything. So you got to kind of wrestle them around and get them going. But this is still the trail. They have these little markings on the tree. This is a tip that I want to give everybody that wants to come out in this area, whether you're coming from out of town or you do live in the Cleveland area. They have these little markings on the trees, and they even have these little signs, so it keeps you on the path so that you don't get lost. And also another tip is just to find some key point areas, which will remind you, like there's blue tape on this tree, just some key point areas to keep you on track. I would never ever suggest going off the beaten path. I would suggest just staying on the path, such as this. You can tell it's a path or a trail. Just be careful if you do come out here, because there are a lot of like these little wood roots that are in the path, and you don't want to trip, especially if you have a dog that pulls you. But so far, here's some of the trail. It is shaded back here, so it's nice and cool. Still bring your hydration, any snacks that's needed.
Hey, sorry, go bathroom.
He already did. He just wants to sniff.
Alright.
Do you watch though? Because I don't know if there's poison ivy or poison oak or anything like that in here. So that's another reason I wouldn't suggest going off the path. I would suggest staying on the path. So here's another key point that I was talking about. You can either go this way or this way. And then you ask yourself, well, which way do I go? Like I said, there's arrows on the tree. So if you notice, there's an orange arrow that's pointing this way. That's the path that you want to take. It's directing you to the right way. You don't want to go off the beaten path if you're unfamiliar, because you will get lost in these Cleveland Metro Parks area, because as I stated before, Cleveland Metro Parks is huge. It's not just in Cleveland. It goes to the suburbs like Berea, Parma. We're actually in Parma right now. This part of the Cleveland Metro Parks is in Parma. All the suburbs like Brook Park, Mayfield, all those suburbs, Berea. So you can be walking and walking forever and get lost. And you're not guaranteed your cell phone service, because everybody's service is different on the strength of it. And if there's towers out here, and you never know if your phone will die. That's another tip that I do want to leave with you guys, is that I always carry 2 battery packs fully charged at all times. Sometimes I'll have my husband charge a battery pack and keep one for his phone as well. He's not on his as much as I am, but having 2 to 3 battery packs assures safety if you do ever get lost or in a position where you don't know where you're going. Or like if you did get off the beaten path, let's say you wanted to walk up there, for instance, just hike to see what's up the hill. I personally would never suggest it, but everybody's different. But if you ever do get lost and you have to call the police or a ranger or somebody to locate you, I'll always turn on your phone locator as well. When you're walking in these wooded areas. These are just some tips that I told you that I was going to give you along the way with our journey today. These are just helpful tips that I've learned in the past, just such as like in the winter when you're traveling and you want to carry extra blankets and clean, dry clothes, things like that. My dog's sniffing everything, so he's not in front for you guys to view as we're walking. But this is just a real nice trail. It's cool out. The day has been very warm. That's why we stopped and got the dogs ice cream so that they can cool off. They've had plenty of water, refreshments, treats, snacks, food, such as my husband and I have my water. He has his. We always carry it. I did find in this area there is a lot of restaurants and gas stations and like McDonald's, Burger King, and things like that. So if you want to stop and get something to eat, or if you want to get refreshed with the potty, however, what? You have to follow the arrows right there. So let's go. You have to follow the arrows on the tree.
Yeah. Go.
Sorry, my husband was trying to figure. We came to one of the, I call it the fork in the road. So, again, I'm going to show you. So this one looks like it's a path, but it's hard to tell. And then you look at the tree, and right there's the arrow. So always follow the arrow. And also the other distinguished markings as you're walking through here is the blue tapes around the tree, or the ribbon is another indicator that you're on the right path. As I stated before, you don't want to go off the beaten path, because all I could show you is that here's another bench area to sit and relax. I think we're going to take a break with the dogs, just so you can take in the view here. But it's huge. I just can't express how huge it is. It's almost like if you're in a mountain area, like say Colorado, Smoky Mountains, you can literally get lost. So thankfully, they guide you with the little arrows and the blue tape on the trees. We're just gonna take a little breather with the dogs. So far, we're having a great day with our fur babies. We're enjoying our hikes. They're enjoying it. The key thing, as I stated before, I give you tips and tricks throughout my video. I can do a separate video on just how to prepare for your trips, but mostly just stay hydrated. I get well, this is a tea, but I make sure I get diet or no sugar added. So you just want to get something that's maybe not sweet, because the sugar turns into carbs and then it just bogs you down, and you want to have the energy while you're hiking, but it's your preference. It's just an advice that I would give you. Another tip that I want to give you is if you're going to do a lot of hiking in the woods, make sure your dogs are up to date on their flea and tick medication, but maybe add a flea tick collar as an additive, because they are really, really bad, especially when you're deep in the woods, especially in the Metro Parks area. Also, too, just for your own person, if you're going to be hiking, because I noticed when I was doing the video, I had like a little mosquito on my head. Bring some Woods Off spray, some type of mosquito repellent, some kind of bug spray. I have a see they're flying around my head, so I have some at home that I should put in my backpack, but this is just to contest to in the future. That's one of the items that is going to go into either my car or my backpack in the future, because when you're hiking here, you want to be comfortable. You don't want to be afraid to open your mouth, or afraid of getting Lyme disease or anything like that as you're walking. So if you enjoy the hiking and being on the trails and things like that, you want to be comfortable, but you also have to make sure your dogs are safe, because fleas and ticks are really bad around here in Ohio. I don't know where anybody's from. This is from my YouTubers and my TikTokers. So make sure they're up to date on all their shots. Make sure they're up to date on like their flea and tick medication. Always check your dogs right before you go home, or even like after you get out of the wooded area, or just along the way and you take breaks, just happen to glance and make sure there's nothing on them. I wouldn't wait too long throughout, like, you know, my husband should check Penelope's ears. They like to get her ears, but just make sure you watch your dogs. Like, they like to attach to my dog's ears and I gotta pluck them off. Just stay updated on the best flea tick medication that you can, even if it's prescription, because if you're going to do a lot of hiking like this, you need to keep them safe. And I would wear some kind of repellent for yourself. Let's see, I had one more tip I'd like to give you. The only other suggestion I can give is you can either bring one of those bandanas and wet that and put it around your head or your neck to keep you cool as you're hiking. Also, like I said, stay hydrated, keep snacks on hand, keep extras, you never know, and just always look at the maps, be well aware of your surroundings and where you're at. I wouldn't suggest hiking late at night, although people have been known to do that, but I would not suggest that because you can totally get lost in these areas. Lastly, I always keep extra leashes on hand. We had an incident where our dog got out of the leash. The leash wasn't broke, not sure what happened there, but just in case any of your leashes break or fray, it has happened to us before. Always bring extra, because you just never know, especially on your walk. And you ask me, well, how do you carry everything? Just make sure they're in the car if you don't want to carry them. Maybe inspect the leashes before you actually start your hike. and just make sure, just yank on them, pull on them, make sure all the leashes and the levers and everything stay hooked. Oh, and one last tip that I just thought of. If you're around any area that has water, it could be a river, it could be a pond, it could be a waterfall. Not to say that nobody knows this, but I see a lot of videos of dogs just having fun. They're playing in the ravines, they're playing in the river, they're getting cooled off, they're running through it, they're rolling in it. That's all great. That, I mean, after you inspect it, of course, you want to make sure it's shallow and that it's not a rapid or anything that would carry them down. Always have them on the leash. I always recommend that. But do not let your dog drink the water unless you know for a fact it's safe. I believe it's like some type of like blue algae. There's some type of bad algae in some of those waters that if a dog drinks it, they will instantly get sick and die. I'm talking within hours. You have no time to leave your area, get back from your hike, get your dog to a vet, because you don't know what's happening unless it happened. So that's just one tip that I want to give you. We have to get up and get moving because the mosquitoes are bad, and there's another dog on its way. So we want to get going. How does she keep getting off? Gotta go get my dog. She got off her leash. So just a quick tip for you. So bring some off spray or something, because we didn't think about it, because most of the places we hiked today were just like overlooks and quick areas. This is a really good wooded area, as you can. They're meeting a new friend. So we are continuing on our trail. I hope some of my hints, tips have helped you along the way. I know it does make for a little bit of a longer video, but I think it helps for those that are just starting out with their fur babies and hiking, or even if you're just starting out on your own. So this is one of those forks in the road again. So we have to follow where the trail goes. So I have to look for the arrow real quick. Okay, so I didn't see an arrow this time on the tree, but what I look for as well is blue tape around the tree, and I see one up ahead, so that tells me we are still going the right way. There is some branches that are sticking out, so you have to be careful, especially if you have dogs that pull you. Okay, here's the arrow right here. So I did find the arrow, so that reassures me that we're still going the right way. Also, they have the trees marked with that blue tape or the blue ribbon. So that also tells me we're going the right way. I'm not sure how many miles this is. I know when we asked the gentleman if we were starting off on the right hike, we told him our destination, because there's many different hikes, many different trails, but you got to ask the person the specific trail that you want. And he told us that this was the correct trail. So we are still going the right way, because right there's the tree with the blue ribbon, and it does have an orange arrow on it. So I just want to give you those little hints for when you're walking the Cleveland Metro Parks. They do line up the areas. It is kind of quiet in here. It's not very busy. So if in need, I never really suggest going off the beaten path, but if for an emergency reason you have to use the restroom, because I have a small bladder, and if I drink to stay hydrated, I'm constantly going to the restroom. So obviously they don't have those on the trails. They do in the beginning, but if you got to make a pit stop, you know, you got to make a pit stop. Just be careful about how you do it, because I don't know, like, if there's poison oak ivy or, you know, and then they did warn about maybe some coyotes being in this area. So, and we don't have rattlesnakes here in Ohio, so that's one thing we don't have to worry about. Okay, so I'm going to continue on, and I'll show you some other key things. I just wanted to take a pause, rest with my dogs, and give you some tips and hints that would help you guys in your future walks with your fur babies. So stay tuned. I'll just pause in between on some of the, you know, I call it the boring parts. Some of the parts that, you know, like areas like this that, you know, you get the idea of like what the walk is or the hike is. So when we come upon some key areas or key points, then I will show you. Now that's dangerous whenever you see the ribbon off the tree, but thank God the ribbon's still there, and then it continues to show that we are on the right path. And you find these little signs perched in the ground as well. So another tip I can give you along the way, here's another ribbon on the tree, is watch your surroundings and watch your area. That's just key. Whenever you're hiking, just continuously to watch your area and the surroundings you're in, because that's how it's going to keep you safe. Be aware of everything that's in the area, whether it be a deer or, you know, an animal. Just be very, very, that's why I say don't go off the beaten path and stick to the path. There's a path for a reason. Okay, so we're continuing on the beaten path. We're coming up to our second bridge, and that also is verification we're going the right way, because not only in the photos I've seen a couple bridges, but that gentleman that we spoke to that started us off on the correct trail also stated that we'll see a couple bridges. So it doesn't seem like a very long trail. There's a bridge up there as well. So these are some key points, and don't be afraid to ask people if they're from around the area that you're hiking and get the right direction, because nothing sucks more than going around the wrong path and then you got to backtrack. And then especially with 4 fur babies, if it's just you and a spouse or friends, it's different. But when you have animals such as these cute little dogs, you don't want to backtrack. So this is Herbst Hill Bridge. So that's another key marking that I mark to know where we're at. Okay, here's another bridge we're gonna go across, getting close to our overlook destination. So we are almost at the top. There's a place that we were told that you can sit and look out at downtown Cleveland. So we're almost up there, guys. I wish I could give you guys an like a mile mark of how long this trail is, but I didn't. I keep forgetting to put my Fitbit on. It would be awesome to keep track of how many miles I walk with all these trails. I do have a Fitbit, I just keep forgetting to put it on in the morning. But we're almost up there. Okay guys, so this is our destination where we're gonna stop, let the dogs take a breather, and I'm gonna show you this beautiful backdrop. So I know it's hard to see, but this is beautiful downtown Cleveland. I'm gonna let so this is the beautiful backdrop of Cleveland. So this is where we came to see this view. So this is actually a nice ending to our hike for today. So we're gonna have the dogs take a breather here. We're gonna do some photo ops, and then you guys have seen the trail on the way up. So I will be back in touch with you when we get back to the parking lot. But this is definitely worth it, you guys. Look at the city view from up here. It reminds me of being in Los Angeles when you see people overlooking the overlook down to like Hollywood. What a great view, you guys. Okay, I'll catch you when I get back to the bottom. Hey, this is for my Facebook page. If you guys ever want to hike here, this is in the Western Reserve in the Metro Parks area. You can hike a great hike in this Linders. You can see the backdrop of downtown on this overlook. It's amazing, and you get a hike out of it too. It's an amazing view. To all my YouTube fans and subscribers, if you ever come out of town, come to Cleveland, Ohio, and just hike the Cleveland Metro Parks everywhere. I did want to say before we hike back down that it was amazing hikes today with my dogs. We had an amazing time. Key is staying hydrated, have your snacks readily available. Just make sure you're prepared. Follow the tips that I gave you along the way. This has just been an amazing journey, amazing day. This is our last stop for today because the last waterfall we went to, it was called Ravine Waterfall. When we got there, we realized there really was no parking. You would have to park on a side road and walk across, and the level of difficulty when you have 4 dogs is too harsh for them. It's more like a hike up and down rocky twigs, sticks, dirt, and it's hard to get to. So we didn't realize that till we got there and I saw the reviews. So make sure you do your research so you don't just drive to a destination and kind of waste your gas or your time. So that's one tip that I learned today for myself, is to Google and to be more prepared. Also, when you Google like a metro park area like this, make sure when you're Googling, if your destination is going to see a waterfall, make sure the park you pull in is the hike that will take you to the waterfall. Because the Cleveland Metro Parks has so many parks, but not all of them have waterfalls. Most of them do, the majority of them do, but there are some hiking trails that just don't have waterfalls. They're just hikes. So you can either hike, you can roller skate, you can ride horses, you can bike, and things like that. But there's picnic areas all over the place, plenty of places to park. There are restrooms at some of the locations. Mainly you'll find them at the picnic areas. There's golf adventure places to play golf, and I don't mean putt-putt golf, I'm talking regular golf. Country clubs, things like that. So whenever you Google your destination, or if you put in Cleveland Metro Parks, do your homework, do your Googling, do your research. Not only with the weather and everything that I talked about previously in my early on part of this video, but just know where you're going. Also, see if you can't calculate the mileage on your loops. So when you look at the maps, it'll tell you what loop you want to take or what trail you want to take. It'll usually list if it's a 1.7 mile, if it's only a half a mile, and make sure you can hack that before you get started. Take breaks if need be. Sit down anywhere you can find benches, especially if you have fur babies. When you go on a long hike, that's what the travel size collapsible water bowl is good for food and water, mainly the water. I would hydrate them more than anything, and then if you want to get back and give them a snack or feed them at the car or at a picnic area and have a picnic with your dogs, you can do that too. But the key thing is not only you're staying hydrated, you're keeping them hydrated. When we hike in warmer temperatures such as today, I try to wear something that's cool and that keeps you cool. You can wrap yourself with a bandana that's wet before you start the hike. Just make sure you use off spray whenever you're doing like a wooded hike. Also take lots of breaks, sit in between, and know your markings, know your trail. Don't ever go off the trails. If you do, that's on you, but I would never suggest that. But I'm going to show you guys one more time the view before we head back bottom. For those of you that are from Cleveland, obviously you know that's Terminal Tower and the Key Bank building and the Federal building. For those of you that are new to my YouTube channel, I'm at Adventures with our 4-legged animals. Sorry about that. I was trying to adjust the camera. Okay, so my YouTube channel is Adventures with our 4-legged friends. This is what we do. We usually have our dogs on these little trips and adventures, but when my husband and I go on getaways and vacations, we don't always have our dogs with us. So these are adventures that we mostly do with our dogs, but you may catch some that my husband and I are just by ourselves without our dogs. But please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Adventures with our 4-legged friends. Click the bell. The bell will let you know of any new notifications that I post with any new videos of my dogs. A lot of time, little fun outings with their dogs, just getting ice cream, if they're swimming, boating, just some cutesy stuff. So if you love dogs and you have fur babies, follow me. And my YouTube channel, once again, is Adventures with our 4-legged friends. I do have a TikTok page at Fur Babies for Life with the underscores in between everything, and click the bell to follow me for any new adventures if you're interested. And I have other videos posted. My husband and I went on an adventure without the dogs yesterday. We went to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, so I did some video there. Catch that. It's pretty interesting. Other than that, I'm going to catch you when we get to the bottom. We're going to start our hike down. We got to get the dogs some water.
That's to set the mood too, because somebody's trying to help the shit out of Lulu.
And then our babies are resting. They look like they're ready for some water, so we're going to take our hike down so that we can get them full of some water. They had some water, but it looks like they need some more. We let them rest as much as possible before we hike back down. Okay, we're starting the hike on the way down, so I'll meet you at the bottom, everybody. About halfway down already, so it didn't take that long. So we're pretty much at the bottom. We can see the parking lot from where we're at. So in case it gets too loud out in the parking lot, I just want to say this concludes our hike for today. All 4 dogs are getting tuckered out. I'm going to give them some water, some food, and we're going to head home. I just want to thank everybody for subscribing to my YouTube channel at Adventures with Our Four-Legged Friends. Click the bell if you want to see more videos on my beautiful four-legged friends and other nature walks that we do with them. We continue to do this all summer. Even during the winter, we do some little fun things with them, but we post yearly. I hope the tips and the hints and the tricks that I gave you along the way is helpful. If you have any questions, please drop me a comment or a message, and I promise I'll read them and get back to you. Click the bell to see more. I am on TikTok under furbabies_4_life. So it's furbabies4life with the underscores. And I can post the links to both my channels on this video. So I do want to thank everybody for watching. Please do subscribe if you want to watch more on our hikes. We do some fun, cool things with the dogs. We do some adventurous stuff with the dogs, hilarious stuff with the dogs. Sunny likes to float in our pool, so we even show that. There's other videos on my page. I do have a separate page, Cooking Keto with Melissa. It's because I do keto cooking, if you want to follow me on that as well. I don't have any videos posted on that page, but you will find it on Adventures with Our Four-Legged Friends page if you want to watch what I'll be doing on that YouTube channel. But as of for right now, we're almost to the parking lot. And once again, I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting us and for watching and subscribing. I hope you enjoyed venturing out on our day with us and our four-legged friends, Sunny, Penelope, Harley, and Lulu. And follow us again in the future. We're going to head home, get these guys rested up, and let them lay down and take naps. And my hubby and I are going to go out to dinner with some friends. I hope you enjoy, and I hope the tips, tricks, and hints help you. Follow me for more. Have a great day, everybody. So guys, I want to give you a helpful tip right before you reach your destination. Dogs get excited. There's nothing you can do about it. So before you open the door, they'll jump around, they'll scratch your legs up, they'll bark, they'll get excited. So you just want to make sure as a precautionary that you already have the leashes on your arms before you open the door, because they're going to get excited and they're going to jump out. So that's just one little helpful tip to prepare you so that they don't get loose in an area you're unfamiliar with.